Exactly 1 month ago today, Spanish Fort police stopping what could have been a mass shooting at Bass Pro Shops. Investigators say this guy, Robert Smith Jr., fired 40 rounds into the building with multiple weapons.
And officers took him down without using lethal force. Instead, they used a taser. No innocent people were hurt, and tonight those 4 officers who responded and the dispatcher were recognized for their job well done. Our Lee Pack was there for the award ceremony.
Lee, Chief John Barber there taking every opportunity to highlight what his officers and dispatcher did.
Absolutely, Byron and Shelby. Chief Barber acknowledging that these have been extremely challenging times for law enforcement, but wanted to thank these officers and the dispatcher for being there for their community when they were needed most.
And I pray for them.
Prayers for the men and women who wear the badge. A month ago today, Spanish Fort police officers taking down an active shooter at the Bass Pro Shops.
That day could have added Spanish Fort, Alabama to a long list of other cities that have experienced tragic active shooter incidents. Instead, this day will be remembered when 4 Spanish Fort police officers went to gunfire when others ran away. Thank you.
Tonight they're being recognized. Included is dispatcher Marissa Tompkins, getting officers the information they needed. Sergeant Cameron Calloway was one of those responding.
As we continued towards the Bass Pro, more calls have started coming in, more shots are being fired, which time I knew at that point in time that I knew for sure that we had an active shooter in progress.
By the time they arrived, suspect Robert Smith Jr. had fired more than 40 rounds from 3 different guns and retreated to his SUV. Ignoring officers' demands to surrender, he instead put on a bulletproof vest.
As he's doing that, he reaches into the vehicle, presumably to access one of his weapons. However, he emerges with a cane. And he begins approaching these 4 officers with a cane, raising it up as if he had a rifle.
And he had plenty. Take a look at Smith's arsenal. Several assault weapons and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Seeing it was only a cane, officers were able to safely take him down by using a taser.
And it comes to you without having to think about it. I mean, you fall back on your training.
And again, you're talking about split-second decisions, and they made the right decision. It's something you have to highlight. When they do it right, you have to recognize that.
Sergeant Calloway, along with the other members of his squad, officers John Sieber, B.J. Tomberlin, and Adam Cormier, all receiving Merit Service Medals.
The pressure that these officers are on every day is immense. I am very proud of these officers. I'm proud of all the ones in Spanish Fort Police Department, and you should be as well.
Chief Barber also commending city leaders for active shooter gear for the department. He says with extra body armor and guns, they were more than prepared to respond to this incident. Meanwhile, suspected gunman Robert Smith Jr. remains jailed tonight without bond. Stay with Fox 10 News. We'll be right back.